You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. Wole, Ray, and Mo are your hosts. What's good, fellas?
What's happening?
Happy Tuesday. What's going on? Ray, happy Tuesday to you. I am giving you humble
All is well,
greetings.
my friend. Watching the football, Minicamp mania, baby.
Minicamp. People are talking. The streets are talking. They boosted about people rocking t-shirts. Yeah, about people rocking t-shirts and making plays non-pads. But you know how it is, man. We gotta talk about something.
Minicamp mania, baby. Tua is the worst quarterback in minicamp right now.
Man, we talk about minicamp. Somebody played the Allen Iverson joint. We talking about minicamp, bro. We out here criticizing players off minicamp.
Anything to keep the hysteria going, man. Anything to keep football alive, man. That's all. This is that dull period, man. We're not gonna have no football until about camps in 6 weeks.
Real training camp, man. Yeah, we need that, man. Yeah. We need that with a passion.
Let's go back to Fox 5. Ride up Carlisle. Get the Pittsburgh Steelers on the field. Mo. Steve Buckhands. I go back and watch some of those tapes, baby.
Even Doc was down there, man. Even Doc was down there covering back in the day. You know what it is.
Y'all crazy. Anyway, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Go Errrything. Also, tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Wole.
It's time for the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll talk about Taylor Heinicke's strong minicamp. That's the talk of the town, man. Taylor Heinicke's doing it big. Let's get right into it. There are multiple reports that Taylor Heinicke, backup quarterback of the Washington football team, did well at minicamp. What does this mean? Anything?
I mean, I don't think it means anything, except for the fact that Taylor Heinicke is in a system that he's familiar with. Possibly been getting his learning up over the offseason. He's come in and he's probably shown some command of the offense in 7-on-7. I guess that's the most you can do.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at his road to the NFL, you look at his road to that playoff game last year and how he performed in that playoff game, taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down to the wire, as you guys like to say.
Oh, my.
Right? As you guys would like to say. I think the way he battled against Tampa and showed and proved that what he could do on a what was it, a 2-week notice at that time?
Yeah.
I think having a mini camp I think that's why the mini camp buzz is there for him, because he's a young player who's had some adversity in his career, who's shown us that he's up to the challenge of playing in a playoff game on short notice. And people are going to be optimistic about that, right? Because he is the last bit of success that the team had. So they want to see what he can level up to be this year. Minicamp is the start of that. So that's why we have this Taylor Heinicke there.
Hold on. What did you say again? What did you say? He had the last bit of what?
Success.
So what kind of success, Mo? What do you mean by that?
I mean, you got to answer that for me, man.
No. You said it. You said that man had the most recent success. You said success. Right. So that man had a successful outing against Tampa, right?
I didn't say that.
Oh, you just said it. This is recorded.
It's all relative. I think he means it's all relative in terms of the.
What I'm saying is
you just said it. You just said it, bro.
The way he competed.
Yeah.
So
okay. All right, I love that.
Successes. The
Leave
successes
it there.
That he competed admirably. He competed admirably.
Okay, I will admit that. Now I'm gonna integrate our other show into this one. Yeah. Because we've heard that now he's looking like David Boston. He came back, drank his protein shakes. He's bulked up a bit because he wants to be hard to tackle and he also wants to protect himself in case he has to get outside the pocket, which we see he's effective at doing that, right, in the short sample size that we've seen. So that shows that he's committed to getting better. And if he doesn't make it with this team, he's trying to earn his spot with another organization. I think that's dope. So I love his work ethic already. The locker room seems to love him, which is great. The coaching staff as well. That's why you re-signed him. And what's wrong with a little bit of competition? Mo, as a coach, as a former player, don't you try harder? Don't you play harder when you got somebody breathing down your neck, so to speak?
Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. You gotta understand that that this team is in search of a quarterback for the future by any means necessary. You gotta understand that what we're gonna get into later. The Haskins experiment didn't work. You gotta understand that you have a journeyman quarterback coming in that's gonna be a starter. He's at the ripe age of 36, 37. So they're pushing all their chips to the front, right, of the table and trying to make sure that they cover this. And they have this covered, and that they build some, and they foster competition in camp and foster competition and make everybody dare I say uneasy, right? I feel like you don't want anybody to settle. That's the one thing I love about this regime. Spots are up for grabs, and you're gonna have to perform. You're gonna have to show and prove to keep yours. And we know that competition breeds. Competition is at the forefront of all good teams.
And also, real quick, Wole, my bad.
No, go keep going.
What's dope about minicamp right now for this group, especially this group and this franchise, is it looks as though they have talent all around the board, and it's no guarantee that you're going to see certain players on the field outside of course, like Chase, Montez, those guys. You already know what it is. But defensive back, there's talent. There's young talent too. Of course, receiver. That's the biggest buzz coming right now out of training. I mean, out of minicamp, excuse me, is receiver. So I love that because in the past, of course, we didn't see, 2, 3 talented guys at one position where you like, I don't know who's going to actually be the starter, who's going to lead in catches. This year, man, you might actually see 2 receivers exceed 50 catches, exceed 60 catches, if that makes sense. Because I don't know did Terry have a second guy last season?
No, I mean, Cam Sims. You're gonna say Cam Sims, his second guy last year? Is that the argument? Would that be the? I guess
no, not necessarily an argument. I'm just saying pretty much he did. Is what I'm saying.
He did.
So
no, I agree with you. No,
that's just one example, and I'm loving what they're looking like at safety and a gorgeous DB, and hearing what McCain has looked like so far is dope. I think he's just so versatile. But it sounds like he might be starting at safety. Remember when Big Doug was on the show? We like, man, he might be starting at corner, or he might be able to fill that void there as well. But this is an exciting time in terms of just raw talent. Now, injuries come into play, and we got to see how this coaching staff brings it all together.
Yeah, I like something that Mo said, though, about not about having success in the Tampa game, but more like a guy who competed and, against and played hard against that team. I think that's really something that the players kind of look at and gravitate to, right? Is that they look at it to say, all right, you know what? It's a kid, it's a guy, it's a player that's going to compete at the high level. Forget, if it's going to equivalent to playing great football, but it's somebody who's not going to be scared of the moment, is going to compete. You did that against the GOAT and Tom Brady and a good Bucs defense. So not to say, we're not talking about, again, I'm not saying, I'm not breaking down this play in that game, but just a guy who wasn't scared of the moment. At times we watch sporting events, definitely, in football, just being a quarterback, we've seen scared quarterbacks. And especially at the highest level, right? We had a playoff game in the Super Bowl or whatnot. Heinicke at least showed you this. There's something you can take. I don't think if you're a believer or not a believer, a guy who is not scared of the moment and a guy who is willing to compete. And there's something like to what Ray was talking about, again, to add on to it. It's a kid that wants to get better. He didn't look at that situation and say, you know what? I showcased to the league that I can play football at a high level or at a decent level as a starting quarterback. But I also take it so seriously that I want to put on weight because I have been hurt in the past, in college and in the pros, to where I seem fragile. So now let me improve on that. So it's a person who takes his trait very seriously. So I think if anything, that's something that he has shown. For
sure. Three things stuck out to me from that game, right? Three things stuck out to me from that game. The first being that run when he escaped the pocket and he dove into the end zone, the initial play. Yeah. Right. The moxie that it took to go do that. Most quarterbacks aren't putting themselves on the line like that, right? A lot of people are arguing that Aaron Rodgers had that opportunity. He threw it back across the middle to Devontae Adams, right?
Yeah.
In the Tampa game. So that stuck out to me. Second was something that you talked about. You talked about how the team backs him, right?
Yeah.
In that game, Chase Young ran onto the field, patted him on the helmet in the back and told him, come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Like, and then the third thing was him coming back from injury within that game. with the shoulder.
Yeah,
And you can
good
see that,
point.
and just toughen that out, and toughen through that and getting through that, right? So Heinicke has earned his opportunity to show improvement.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. I definitely agree.
You listen to all Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene. So Coach Rivera stated that he learned his lesson last year with Dwayne Haskins. I know we keep bringing him up, but it's relevant, especially being Ron Rivera. This was his first season. Now he's coming into his second year. Do you believe what he's talking about? Do you believe that right now there is an open quarterback competition along with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was presumably brought in to be the starter? And so far, reports have been that Taylor Heinicke has not worked with the first group. So where's Coach Rivera going with this?
I mean, I think that Fitzpatrick is the starting quarterback. I don't think anything is cemented though. I think you look at the way his career has played out, he's not a quarterback that's ever come in cemented as a starter. But I think that there's a veteran leadership there. There's a veteran experience and leadership there that teams can rally behind. Right? He provides opportunities in ways that we've seen when it's good, that is winning football. But we also know about the Jekyll and Hyde effect with him, right? When it's bad, it can shoot a team in the foot.
You go left.
So I think with just that being the case and that being the narrative on Fitzpatrick, I think you have to at least let Heinicke try to get the mental reps, try to get some physical reps, and see what he can do. And Heinicke's play, and that's why I think there's a lot of buzz around Heinicke right now in minicamp. Just him being there and him taking on the load and taking on the challenge and seeing if he can close that gap between him and Ryan Fitzpatrick will determine whether there's a real quarterback competition during training camp.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fitzpatrick is going to really have to bomb for it to be a real competition. I still think, regardless of what Coach Rivera is saying, they brought in Fitzpatrick to start. So that's an idea. That's a guy that they have in mind to be a starter. Heinicke can definitely make it difficult to a point where he may not start day one, week one. But like Mo said, that if he has
to make it close.
Yeah, if Fitzpatrick just make it close, if Fitzpatrick has those Fitzpatrick moments where we've seen in the past, then yeah, Heinicke can definitely. I don't think Ron Rivera will wait on pulling the trigger during the season. But I think going into the season, I think it's Fitzpatrick's job. It's just up to Fitzpatrick, to maintain it in camp. I don't expect him to look horrible at camp or look horrible in preseason, the couple preseason games they will have. It's up to it's all up on Heinicke, to be honest with you. I don't feel like Fitzpatrick has that. I mean, they're gonna say pressure on.
But I think there's a wild card in there, Wole. I think there's a wild card in there. I think nobody's talking about Kyle Allen, right? We're talking about a guy that came in with Rivera's team.
Yeah.
His first team. Remember, he came in with his first team.
No, I agree.
He had he had enough success to where they told your man Cam, you can walk. Right?
Yeah, I heard him.
Not saying that he's going to have that in DC, but I'm just saying, like, he had enough success where Ron.
There's a reason. All I'm gonna say, there's a reason.
You throwing that word success out there.
Mo, I'm gonna say this. There's a reason.
He started 5-0.
Mo.
He started 5-0.
No. There's a reason why he didn't.
All about how you finish, Mo.
There's a reason why he didn't reference Allen when he's talking about the quarterback situation. He was talking about Heinicke and Fitzpatrick. He wasn't even talking about Allen.
With respect to Allen, he's also coming off a major surgery and injury.
And he came back to minicamp pretty fast. He's back on minicamp.
But we're not going to see him at his full tilt, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think it's a two-man race for this quarterback job. I do think that in training camp, if Heinicke can close that gap from what we've seen from minicamp, and when he get pads on this, let's see if he's as dynamic as he was last time, right?
There you go.
Like we talked with Doc, right? When Doc told us it's all about the pads. Right now, I think they're excited because they've seen that he can retain the information, right? He can retain the information, he can deliver the ball. When we see him in training camp and he has those pads on and his live bullets, and we can see his improvisational skills, I think that's when we can determine whether it's a real competition or not.
No, I totally agree. So, say Heinicke beats out Fitzpatrick. Could this team win with Heinicke as a quarterback? And if so, what is the recipe for him to be successful?
Glad you asked that, man. And this is interesting because we were kind of joking about our age earlier, right?
Yeah.
You and I, Wole, and how things have changed, not just obviously in sports, but overall. And that's what happens, you know, over time, things evolve, correct?
Yeah.
And this the way the game is played today is different, right? Teams throw the ball 40 times. It's normal for a quarterback to throw 40, 50 times. You pass for 500 yards. Running the ball gets lost. But we want to see this team return to running the football and playing strong defense and making it mucking the game. I think Mo used that phrase a couple weeks ago. I think you take less. I think you take pressure off your quarterback if you do that, right? But nonetheless, Fitzpatrick, is he Scott Turner's guy? That's my question. This is, I guess, rhetorical. That's my question to you guys. Who does Scott Turner want to work with? Because what I'm hearing is Scott Turner had to work with a carousel last year, and that was not easy for a first-year offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So does he want Ryan Fitzpatrick as his starter? Does Ryan Fitzpatrick understand what Scott Turner as a coach wants to do in terms of game planning? That's what I need to see. And I know I say it every week about Scott Turner, and no disrespect to him. But again, you talk about Heinicke, we got a small sample size, right? We got to see it. Scott Turner has the opportunity to show it. He has a better situation in terms of quarterbacks, I guess, regarding stability, since Dwayne was kind of force-fed down Ron's throat, so to speak, coming into the season last year. Now, you got your guys. Let's see what happens. Who does Scott Turner want? Would Scott Turner prefer to work with Kyle Allen, who all he knows his playbook back and forth, or should Kyle Allen be that kind of secondary coach to the quarterbacks? I'm just saying, what are you going to do? It's some question marks around that coordinator position. And of course, the quarterbacks you have, talent-wise, I don't know. And in the division, where are they? Right in front of the Eagles in terms of quarterback, you know, talent, or the Giants. No offense, but I'm just saying, it's some
question marks everywhere.
No, it's not though. The D line, there's no question.
No. Talk about the quarterback. About quarterback.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. That's the only position right now that I'm like, in addition to the offensive coordinator. So I can't give you no definitive answers yet. Let's say preseason game 3, we can start to talk definitively of what this group may look like and what the game plan may start to look like. We can't draw everything in preseason because you don't. It's vanilla a lot of time. But Kyle Allen,
to a certain,
Scott Turner has a lot to show.
I think your take was spot on. I think your take on and your answer to the question shows me what I needed to see. We asked the question about Heinicke, right? Beating out Fitzpatrick, and all we got to was Scott Turner. Right?
It's the truth, though. It's the truth.
All we got to was Scott Turner.
It's the truth.
I'm gonna take another stance on this, right? Since I'm the resident WFT hater. Right. So I'm gonna go 180 today.
Yeah, go.
I'm gonna say that this team could rally around Heinicke. I think if he stays healthy, because health matters, right?
Yeah, it does.
Stays healthy. I think we saw enough talent in that Tampa game. We saw enough fight. We saw a competitor that if Scott lets him do what he does well, which is move the pocket, throw the ball intermediate, and then open play action to go deep, which the play action game is going to be reliant on the run game.
Yeah, the effectiveness of the run game.
Which I think is another question mark, because I don't think that they have the horses in the stable to have the run game that's necessary for this team to be successful if they go to the run and muck offense. Muck it up offense. You have a guy that is fragile in 24. He's still dealing with an injury. And the other guys behind him are third down backs, right? Third down back.
You got the young kid, the young kid from the area. No one knows. Yeah, I mean, he's small though. He could be at the. I mean, it depends. I mean,
he's short. I don't think he's small.
He's short.
He's short, but
but you don't. Yeah,
Patterson can go. Patterson can go. But we can't count on him to make.
No, you don't, because you don't know what you got. You really don't know what you got. Let's be real.
We can't count on him to make the team. So until proven otherwise,
very true.
Like Scott is going to have to build an offense. It's going to allow this guy to move around the pocket. It's going to give him different launching points where he can throw the ball, because he showed some arm talent. That deep ball to Cam, that Cam dropped in the game, I seen everything I needed to see. I saw everything I needed to see on that play. Extended the play, let it fly. Any other receiver catches that.
Yeah.
But they
Any
said,
other
put the
receiver.
2 arms up in the air, touchdown, right?
Any other receiver catches that ball. Any other receiver catches that ball.
So I think those type of plays are what the team is going to need, because remember, the defense is stout and the defense doesn't need much more than what this defense can probably win a game as long as you score 17, 20 points.
Yeah, depending on
most of the time.
Depending on who you're playing.
Yeah, in most games, this defense can 20 points. This defense can win.
Yeah, and if the offense is turn the football over.
Yeah.
I agree with everybody. I think obviously Scott Turner is the question mark. I think he gets a free pass all the time. I know, like we talk about Dwayne as a young quarterback. We should hold that same thing with Scott Turner. I know we get an excuse. The excuse for Scott Turner is that Scott Turner is, it's a first year OC. Yeah, okay, sounds cool. But we've seen other first years OCs be very successful. So it just depends, man. It just depends. If there was some progression last season to a certain extent, but there were question marks that I've had throughout the season. Even I felt like for a NFL coach, certain things that I felt that were just common sense. Like you have a running back who play wide receiver. How come he's not out there often on routes? So
his backup is out there more than he is.
Exactly. So things like that. So, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he improved. Like we talk about any young player. Hopefully he improved. But I do think, but to everybody's point about the question is that I feel like the recipe is like, don't put too much. Because again, your strength is your defense. I'm gonna go old school, right? I'm gonna be that old school dude. Like, don't put your defense in a jacked up situation. Like, work off your defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you gotta play the field position game, play the field position game. Like, work off your defense. Don't hinder your defense, from being what they're capable of doing. Like, you don't, for instance, you play if your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, then you're gonna play to the strength of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. If your quarterback is same with Russell Wilson, whatever, you're gonna play to their strengths. So this situation where this team is, as much as everybody wants to have the guy. If you don't have the guy, I'm not going to play to the strength of Taylor Heinicke over freaking Chase Young and Sweat. Like, I'm not playing over that. I'm not doing that.
I was about to say, if you play to the strengths of Fitzpatrick, it's going to be.
That's another thing too. Away. That's a thing too. Like I'm saying,
it's going to be. But I think even if Scott keeps the offense similar to the one that they had last year, I think the infusion of talent on the team this year changes that. I mean, I need a receiver to be better than less than 50 catches from Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, it should be.
I need that. The next receiver cannot be at 30 catches when Terry has 87.
I agree.
That's and your running back is the second leading receiver on the team, and then your tight end, who's a journeyman tight end, and changed positions from the time he came in the league, missed 2 or 3 years, then was the second leading receiver on the team.
Play well though. Play well. I'll give credit. Play better than I thought he was going to play.
So I think the infusion of Curtis Samuel, people are still talking about Adam Humphries and De'Ami Brown coming in. Hopefully that infusion of talent, stresses the defense, the opposing defenses out to the point where Scott can look like a decent offensive coordinator.
Definitely. So I have some comments on Twitter about, the recipe for Taylor Heinicke to be successful. John Reed tweeted us. He said, get him some playmakers who can get separation. I think they did that by bringing De'Ami Brown. And also, you got Scary Terry. So, and you got and Kurt Samuels. So you have the speed to do that. The homie George tweeted us that an offensive coordinator that will be willing to tailor the offense to what Heinicke does well, and use his mobility as an asset, not exactly Scott Turner's forte.
George is my man.
George got it. That's what
we all thinking alike, man. That's that's how you know it's gonna come together, because we all thinking alike. And Wole, just judging off your facial expression, just judging off how you've been speaking about Scott Turner, you don't seem too optimistic about him. However, the defense is good enough to where you're going to compete. But the schedule right now, and I don't like looking at schedules on paper, but that's all we have for now. It looks difficult. Yeah. So you have to come in with a good game plan. I know somebody was saying earlier that he called some good games. I don't know if he had a complete game. You like, man, Scott Turner came out this game and he had his coming out party. I didn't see that. He had good moments as a play caller.
I'll say they're good game. He had a good game. I mean, you call it a good game, but I feel like that's all relative, right? Because depending on who you play against, like he had a good game against the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense is trash.
He ain't getting nobody paid. Put it that way. McVay got Kirk Cousins paid.
Yeah,
like Sean
McVay,
point. Yeah. Sean McVay was questionable in the red zone too in terms of some of his decisions, but many blame that on Cousins, his decision making.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen Scott Turner look like an offensive genius like his pops or like I said, Sean McVay yet.
No, exactly. And I agree with that. Another tweet, my man T-Rev tweeted, play his game, play his instincts, don't force anything, don't try to be the hero. I don't know. I feel like Taylor Heinicke, well, I don't know. Like I felt like, he was trying to be a hero, trying to be Superman in that Tampa game. So I don't know.
That's an elimination. That's an elimination.
That's true, man. You gotta go all out.
So you gotta go out swinging.
You gotta go all out.
I'm okay with that.
Right, you gotta go all out.
It comes down to Turner. We all agree on that.
I agree, man. It's Turner. Turner gotta, to me, if he's improved as an OC, then I think that any quarterback in the system can improve. But he has to make life easy though.
It's going to come down to how he uses Curtis Samuel.
I agree. And the running game, man.
I mean,
the running game.
You got a good enough line where the running game should. Well,
you got to be the way he, he's funny, man. He's funny. That's all I'm gonna say. He's funny. He's funny though.
Part of the run game is on AG. AG got to hit holes and he got to stop tipping. He got to hit the hole, take what he can take. He got to run behind his pads. You got to remember he's 230 pounds and he's not 215.
He got to be a running back. You got to be a running back, right? He's got to be a running back. That's what it is.
And I'm a fan of a guy up north that wears 26 that got to do the same thing.
Yes, I'm with you.
He's just more dynamic athlete.
Oh man, well, that's a star, man. That's two different levels.
I know that is typical. That is typical for young running backs, though. We saw that with Reggie Bush forever until he got to Detroit. Like that's how he ran. They want to hit that hole and then they want to take off. They want to go outside.
But it's different though.
Reggie Bush that's who he was. It was.
Sean Payton do some questionable stuff in the run game.
Now, come on now. He missed wide open holes because he was always trying to break it outside. Well, you already know that.
I know that, but you know what? But see, you're right. I don't argue that. But see, Gibson don't even.
Those are exceptional talents.
But Gibson just be missing. Like, but he just. Man, I'm not going to be.
That's his natural position.
I'm not
trying
to
to get a man the benefit of the doubt.
I know what you're saying about Reggie Bush because
and his age, his experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Reggie Bush was a receiver or punt returner for some people, right? So is Antonio Gibson really a running back? That's all I'm saying. That's why I'm making a comparison.
I agree with you. No, I
didn't go debate that.
Whoever saw Reggie Bush as a receiver or punt returner is the problem.
All right, we got to log off for that discussion, Mo. But look at Wole's face. Wole used to text me all the time. He's a punt returner.
He's a punt returner. I tell all the time, dog.
He called him Ronnie Harmon. He called him Ronnie Harmon.
He's Ronnie Harmon. He was a glorified.
Mo don't know who Ronnie Harmon is.
Reggie Bush's problem was he got drafted by the New Orleans Saints. That was the problem with Reggie Bush.
I liked him in college, but I didn't like him in the league. But
the problem with Reggie Bush is he got drafted by the New Orleans Saints, and Sean Payton always wants to be ahead of the curve. And he didn't run that boy the way he should have. Like that wasn't the offense. That wasn't it.
He could have ran him like Kamara. He should have ran him like Kamara, right?
No,
they're about the same.
Not even. It's different though.
Yeah, because
Reggie was lining up out wide.
Yeah.
Kamara gets all of his from the backfield.
Yeah.
Kamara gets all his from the backfield from the dump offs, like sending everybody vertical down the field. And
you know what? I didn't know I like Reggie Bush more when he left New Orleans. I ain't gonna lie. I liked him more when he left New Orleans. But maybe because I hate Sean Payton. I do dislike Sean Payton. I do dislike Sean Payton. I ain't gonna lie.
I have a friend that Alvin Kamara is my favorite back in the league, right? Because I like his versatility. He's my favorite back in the league because I like his versatility. I like 26 too, but like I call Alvin Kamara my cousin because we from West Africa. You know?
That's why. I was trying to figure out why. Because real talk, Kamara ain't better. No, he ain't really better than Saquon.
I didn't say he's better.
Okay, it was the name, right? That's what it was. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, why?
I didn't say he's better. I said I like him. I feel like Alvin Kamara has not had 200 carries in the season yet.
Mm-hmm.
Alvin Kamara have 9 carries this game. He'll have 15 next game. He'll have 20, and then you go back to 8. There's no consistency in the run game with him. Running backs need the ball. They need to get a feel of the game, and they need to get it. Alvin Kamara has not run for 1,000 yards in the season yet because of the way he is used by Sean Payton.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, again, like hopefully,
yeah,
man. Hopefully, Antonio Gibson could be like a Kamara or even a Reggie Bush.
If Antonio Gibson turns out to be like a Kamara, like that's success.
Well, they want. You could tell they want to be like my man in Carolina. They want to be like McCaffrey. He ain't McCaffrey.
But
so
McCaffrey can run between the tackles, though. He can do that since Stanford.
I agree. They just want him to be like him.
You can want him to be like that, but this guy, you know what? You know how they should run. How they should run Antonio Gibson is how the Colts used to run Edgerrin James. Stretch plays, counters.
Yeah, agreed.
Get him out wide and let him come back inside.
I agree.
Or let him have the dual option.
Yeah,
that's how Edgerrin James
baby.
Huh?
Joe Gibbs.
Counter Trey. Yeah. You're right. It's in turn, but his father used to run counter Trey. His father used to run counter too. I mean, Noah used to run counter. Too bad.
Have him go one direction. Let him use because he also AG also has punt returner in him. Remember?
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know it is. That's why.
Have him go one direction. Bring him back. All of that, or have him run stretch plays where you can seal off the edge and he can get there.
Yo, we need to have a show about Scott Turner next, dog. Like I wish we need to have a show about Scott Turner.
He actually likes to go on podcasts, so
I know.
Ready to come on.
Oh man, I don't think I'm ready for that.
Well, no.
I don't know if I can maintain.
Ask him about some. No, you have to ask him about what are some of the obstacles that you feel like you face.
Yeah,
it's cool that we can report what we feel like he was up against.
Yeah, exactly.
But maybe he was comfortable at least going into the season with Dwayne and with Kyle Allen. You never know. I think he felt okay with Kyle Allen being on the roster. But we don't know. That's the stuff we could ask him, Wole. We should try to make it happen. I know I think he went on Ben Standings podcast, so maybe he might be willing to come on ours. I don't know. But it might be your fault because
I have
you always kind of go at him on Twitter.
I do at him.
I know.
I'm not a nice person. I'm not a nice person sometimes.
Maybe you should let Mo send that request over. We won't have Mr. Wiley making decisions no more. He ain't gonna be like Omar from the Wire. Yeah, of course, man. You know, whatever.
Hey, man, Mr. Wiley, that's my dude. I'm supposed to meet him up. He's supposed to be at Horace and Dick's around here too.
He can't help us, man. Bring me some fish, though.
I know, I know, man. Them just bombers. I don't know what. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Search all Burgundy and go everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page, man. This has been a dope show. We've learned a lot about Scott Turner, Heinicke. I think we all agree that Scott Turner needs work. Maybe, I don't know. Ray wants to bring him on the show. If we do the show, Ray, I probably can't be on that show. I'll just like record and be away. Hey, again, thank you all for being on. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. A mega. Lead us out, big homie.